Hey peeps, we are back. We are talking the Real Housewives of New York, season 13, episode 6. Okay, so I don't know what's going on. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is driving me crazy with Sutton and her crazy antics. And the Real Housewives of New York is driving me crazy with Luann and Ramona. I don't know why these two act as if they are just 100% confused, as if they had just been born last week. These ladies know how to handle themselves. They know that how they're acting is wrong. They know that they're being irrational. They know what they're doing is wrong. They know that they are acting irrational, and they are very much aware that they are holding Ebony to a different set of standards than they do the rest of the ladies. This is ridiculous. And the way that they are acting with Ebony, I would really like to know how they are going to act when the next African American lady, Bernard Shaw, I think is her name. I'm probably butchering her name. When she shows up later in the season, are they going to call her angry as well? This is ridiculous. I'm just going to pinpoint the things that happened in this episode that triggered me as an African American woman. And then I'm just going to move on. It starts off bad for me. You know, they've already had this disagreement. Luann has definitely shown out. She called Ebony angry. And then once Ebony leaves the house, she's still in her kitchen or dining room with her family, and Ramona calling Ebony angry again. And then she makes the comment, she's bringing up race. I didn't even bring up race. Then Ramona makes this comment. She says that Ebony has issues. What issues, Ramona? What issues? And I really got ticked off because Luann originally popped off because she believed that Ebony said that she was smarter than they were. She never said she was smarter than them. She said that she had more education than them. And what she meant was she had more textbook education. She had gone to college and she went to law school and she's done some other things, and that's what she meant. She even mentioned that Luann has her nursing license, that she's an LPN. All of these ladies are business owners. All of them have traveled the world. They're all educated in their own way. She just meant textbook. And Luann continues to make this comment that maybe she's not as educated as she thinks, making dumb comments like this. Well, maybe if you would have shut up for 5 seconds and just let her finish explaining to you what she meant, this whole thing would have never happened.
She is angry. She kept referring to race. I never brought up the color of her skin once. What's that got to do with it?
She has issues.
Holy shit.
Women don't want to be called angry. And when you're with a black woman, avoid it. And if you do that, you back down right away and say, wow, didn't realize, now I do.
When he made such a derogatory statement as she's the smartest woman at the table, she lost me. For someone that's so well educated, that was a really dumb thing to say.
See what I mean? Luann and Ramona and this crap is ridiculous. Ladies, cut the mess. I mean, I just don't get it. All of these women are absolutely smart women. They really are. Why is it that you cannot sit in a room with another grown woman and just have a civil conversation? Why can't this African American woman come in this group with all of these ladies and not just mesh? Why is she not allowed to just be herself? Why is she not allowed to show emotion? Every single person and animal in this world has emotions, and they should be able to show them as long as they are not physically hurting somebody. Ebony screaming and yelling doesn't physically hurt you. It's just too much. Again, thank you, Sonja, for having some common sense. I waited a little while to do this video on purpose because some of these things, Luann and Ramona, it just triggered me, and it brought up a little pain in my life. You know, And I just sat with myself for a little bit and I said, if the roles were reversed, and it was a room full of African American women and one white lady, would I try my best to just listen and hear her out? And my answer was yes, because that's who I am and that's how I was raised. I may not always agree with people. I may not always understand, but I will absolutely try to understand. I will try to shut my mouth and listen to what you have to say, because at the very least, I'm going to learn something. At the very least, I was respectful. To me, Luann and Ramona were both blatantly rude, selfish, snobby, and elitist. That is never going to be good, no matter what race or nationality you are. Rudeness, selfishness, snobbiness, elitist, awful, no matter who you are. When Ebony gets back to Ramona's house, I was a little shocked to see her laid up in Ramona's house. I really was. I said, girl, you have been treating this woman like trash this entire weekend, and you just called her and everybody else at the table a hoe, and you ran off to her house. Goodness gracious. She lets Leah know every single thing that went down at Luann's house, and Leah was in complete shock. She was in complete shock. While she's talking to Leah, trying to explain everything, Heather is over there doing her best. Thank you, Heather. She is trying to explain to Ramona and to Luann of what's going on. Ramona is sitting there acting as if she is so innocent. She is so confused. She's shaking her head. Oh, yes, you're right, you're right. But a few minutes ago, Ebony had problems. But now that you're sitting here next to Heather and Heather's trying to guide you on the right path, you're shaking your head. When she brings up the white fragility thing, Ramona says, I didn't even know what that is. And Heather says, well, why didn't you just ask? Ramona just comes off as so fake, so phony. It's just ridiculous. And at this point, why are we playing these games with her? Girl, go somewhere. You do not really want to learn or know or grow. You just want to continue to live in this elitist world that you live in, high in your ivory tower apartment in New York City. You don't care about anybody else or what they're going through. You proved that during the pandemic, the early parts of it, where you were globe-trotting all over Florida and New York and Connecticut and all these other places when you were supposed to be at home quarantining. Then you lied about the blood plasma, as Leah would say. Ramona, just stifle and leave us alone for the rest of this season.
Society does not afford Black women in particular a range of emotion or just downright passion.
Listen to me. When she said your white fragility,
I have no idea what that means.
I know you don't. So you should have maybe said to her, what does that mean?
Well, she was acting so upset. I wasn't sure.
To go in there with apologies. And I'm telling, listen, Luann, I know that you got in a fight and I know you feel attacked.
Did you see the look on Luann's face when she said apologies? It was that whole self-righteous vibe. What are you saying? I need to apologize. What? Girl, if you don't stop, you are full of crap, Luann. You know, Ebony makes that comment that Luann lives her life on a hierarchy, and that is absolutely true. Luann lives on a hierarchy ever since she was the Countess, and she believes that everyone else is below her. But the truth is, no ma'am. No ma'am. No ma'am. What you're doing is you're making yourself look like a complete idiot, and you're coming off as someone who is tone deaf, completely tone deaf. We already knew Ramona was, but now you too, Luann, and everybody knows I have always loved Luann. I always say, I hope we don't lose Luann, but now I could care less. Bye, girl. Then Heather goes on her way to try to soothe everything and explain how she knows the African American experience. She's worked with people, and then she breaks into when she worked that bad boy. Ebony says those are rich African American people. And then she comes back and says, oh no, I was friends with, interns and other people who work there too. I've been to the cookouts. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Heather. Ebony may not have appreciated Heather as much, but I did. Heather is somebody who is trying. She really is. Heather is somebody I think that is kind, she is loving, and she's understanding, and she's willing to listen. Now, is Heather my favorite housewife? No, she is not. But I appreciate her here at this time because she can be an ally to Ebony and Sonja, not Leah so much because she and Leah are not getting along.
Whether you're aware or not, the term angry when referencing a black woman, it's got a long stereotypical history. Black women in this country have never been afforded the opportunity to have a fully human experience because the minute that we raise our voice, which I acknowledge, I definitely raised my voice. It made me feel like you were painting me with a broad brush that we unfortunately do in this country when a black woman shows up in a way that we don't like.
Thank you, well taken. I didn't really understand that angry sets off that kind of reaction. So I didn't say it because I tried to belittle you or make you less than, because it's not me, you know that. So for that, I'm sorry. I think it was a major miscommunication.
And I appreciate that. I do, and I accept it.
I would hope that you would extend the same to me.
You know what? I appreciate Ebony explaining everything to Luann and the rest of the girls. And Ramona says, you have to teach us, And then, of course, later she lets Ramona know it's not her job to teach you. It really isn't. And Sonja pipes in and says the same thing. It's not her job to teach us. We need to, try to learn something here. The fact that Luann actually believed that she was owed an apology was crazy to me because had you listened the first time she said the education comment, had you listened the second time she tried to explain to you about that comment, had you listened the third time she tried to explain to you about that comment, none of this would have happened. The voices could have gone back to regular tone. Everyone could continue to eat that lamb curry that Garth slaved over. None of this had to happen. None of it. When Leah called everybody hoes and stormed off, you guys could have continued to have a beautiful afternoon, but you didn't because you, Luann, did not want to hear it. You automatically just assumed that Leah was calling you stupid or saying that she was smarter than you, and that's not what she said.
Turn some more pages.
Well, maybe.
Sonja is killing it. Sonja Morgan. You know what? I love a sober Sonja. It was really nice to see Luann and Ebony hug it out. When Luann had her private one-on-one, she apologized again and said how sorry she felt. And the truth is, I really, really want to believe her. I'm hoping that by the time we get to the end of this season, there's more conversations, and I'm hoping that Luann can see how important it is to just listen to people. Let a person finish explaining what they're trying to say before you just jump in. I can tell you from experience, when I was younger, I got into so many arguments that didn't need to happen because I was too busy talking and not listening. And my mom used to say to me all the time, and every now and again she still does, I wish that lady would get off my back. Anyway, my mom used to say, and still does, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Shut it. And you know what? When she says that, she's usually right, because if I would just be quiet for a second, I could understand what's going on. and she can finish explaining to me what's happening. It's just, I want Luann and Ramona to do better. Then Ebony has this really cool conversation with Sonja, and she explains to Sonja that she is a valuable person. She is a worthy person. And I agree. Sonja says that she needs to work on her self-love. And I think every now and again, we all do. I don't know anybody who wakes up every morning, every single morning, 24/7, thinking that they are just everything. We all have those moments where we're just not as in love with ourselves as we should be. And I think that Sonja is having a low self-esteem moment. She's, having a low self-esteem season. And it's really good to see Leah and Ebony letting her know that she is lovely. She is smart. She is gorgeous. She is valuable. I really like that they're trying to help her a lot. I think that Ebony is an absolute girl's girl, and I really love that about her. And I also think that Sonja has come a long way from her diverse fish. Remember when she first met Ebony and she was introducing her to all of her multicolored fish? Earlier in the season, that was hilarious. She has come a long way. You go, Sonja. It was really cool too because Ebony then calls the top matchmaker, a lady named Devin, and asked her if she would please help her find a love for Sonja. She tells her how wonderful Sonja is, and she says all she wants to do is find her someone who's gonna love her and appreciate her. And that made me smile. I smiled from ear to ear. I said, you know what? I would absolutely love to see Sonja smiling and happy. Okay, so you guys know that I have zero fashion sense, okay? I cannot put an outfit together to save my life. If you see me on a regular basis, I'm wearing a t-shirt, jeans, and tennis shoes. If it's the winter, I'm wearing a sweater, jeans, and tennis shoes. If it's a formal event, I'll figure something out. But my fashion sense sucks. Anyway, I said all that to say, I really thought that Leah's fishing picnic outfit was so cute. I loved it from head to toe, from the little puffy ball on the top of the hat all the way down to the bottom. Those pants were everything. I love that outfit. Get down in the comments. Did anybody else think that outfit was gorgeous? I loved it. Sonja was having a good time with that fisherman. Personally, I've never been to the beach and seen people fishing. I have never seen actual fishing at the beach. I didn't know that was a thing, but clearly it is. Sonja had a great time, and Ebony said it's almost as if Sonja is on a date with that fisherman. They were kind of cute. I really like to see Luann sat down with Ebony and she apologized to her again. And they both agreed that they were going to work on their communication. And, Luann admitted that she's really sorry that she hurt Ebony. She didn't mean to. And that is something that I can appreciate. And that is great. That is a wonderful start. Ebony explained to her that they can't, wrap everything up in one conversation. It'll have to continue. And I think that her and Luann can make this work. They can figure this out. Sonja and Ebony have a conversation, and Ebony lets her know how lovable she thinks she is, and she tells her about the matchmaker and that she is going to have her matched up with a lovely guy that's going to just love Sonja. And Sonja says that Ebony makes her feel special because she thinks that she's worthy of finding a good guy to spend the rest of her life with. She's really just lapping up the attention from Ebony, and she was smiling, and I really like to see Sonja happy. Then Leah brings up this conversation about voting and how she doesn't know if she's gonna vote. She doesn't really feel like voting. This is really hard for her. And then she starts telling Heather, don't say anything to me. Don't act all morally superior. And Heather hadn't gotten her words out yet. So the ladies decided they're gonna have a theme evening beauty pageant 70s as their Halloween activity for this weekend. And Luann has set everything up for them. Heather is upset because of the way Leah's been treating her. She lets Sonja know that Leah has been absolutely rude to her from the moment she got there. And to be very honest with you, I agree with Heather. Leah has been absolutely outrageously rude to Heather, and she doesn't even know this woman. It's inappropriate. So when Ebony talks to Leah and explains to her that Heather has brought up the fact that Leah doesn't really want to vote, Leah gets all upset. She goes down there. She starts screaming and hollering at Heather, letting her know exactly how she feels about her. You don't have the right to talk about me. Don't you worry about me. Don't bring up the election with me. First of all, you brought up the election in front of her. She doesn't want Heather to talk in all these conversations, but Heather is present for these conversations. If she is present for the conversation, she should be allowed to talk. Leah is absolutely outrageous and out of pocket. You know what? I am sorry about her grandmother. I'm sorry about the whole situation, but Leah's behavior is not appropriate, even if your grandmother is sick. And her behavior now, to me, is worse than her behavior when she was drunk. I mean, drunk Leah was a hot mess, but this Leah is rageful and rude and out of control. Disrespectful to the highest. Girl, bye. Well, that's all I got, you guys. Get down in the comments and let me know what you think. And until next time, bye.